Welcome to SKAMB course.
Today we are going to be talking about the propaganda movement in the Philippines.
What is propaganda?
Well, propaganda is defined as the spreading of ideas, information, or rumor for the purpose of helping or injuring an institution, a cause, or a person.
This movement was spurred by the proto-nationalistic activism of figures such as Jose Burgos and by his execution at the hands of colonial authorities.
From 1872 to 1892, the Filipino nationalist movement incited the propaganda movement, which fought to incorporate the Philippines into Spain.
The first Filipino national movement was sparked by a Filipino priest named Jose Burgos, and it was a form of activism.
In 1888, Filipino expatriate journalist Graciano Lopez founded the newspaper La Solidaridad in Barcelona, and throughout its course, this newspaper urged reforms in both religion and government in the Philippines.
Hey, the Filipino national movement took place across cities in the Philippines and in Spain. Here's the Philippines and here's Spain. Goodbye.
On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again.
Hi, I'm Bob Ross. I'm glad you're here. As a cultural movement, it showcased the writing and artistic production of the young Filipino elite as a means of demonstrating their intellectual sophistication on par with their Spanish peers.
The propaganda movement in the Philippines was largely a literary movement rather than a visual movement. So instead of finding propaganda on posters or on billboards, propaganda was found in books, news articles, etc.
Among their specific goals were representations of the Philippines in the Spanish Parliament, secularization of the clergy, and equal representation of the Spanish and the Philippines in court, along with a public school system separate of the friars.
In addition, the abolition of labor service and forced sale of local products to the government, guarantee of basic freedoms and speech and association, and equal opportunity for Filipinos and Spanish to enter government service were other goals that they focused on.
Propaganda is for mostly young men whose families could afford to send them to study in Spanish universities. In these Spanish universities, they learned the political ideas of the 19th century, such as Enlightenment.
Before the movement, the Philippines were a colony of Spain, and many Filipinos did not have the same rights as their fellow Spanish. Filipino priests lost their jobs to the Spanish friars, and many Filipinos did not have access to public education and were forced to do hard labor.
During this time, tensions rose as people questioned each other and their loyalty to their country. Friends to enemies, neighbors to haters. Despite this, overall loyalty arose in the Philippines.
The majority of the leaders were considered rebels and were exiled, yet it ignited a political consciousness that fed into the Nationalist Revolution of 1896.
So eventually, the evils of Spanish administration were exposed, and the people fought for their freedom and equality.
You just got scammed.